growing up in the community and neighborhood I grew up in, it really just hit me that all these predatory lenders are targeting every demographic I've been a part of, which is minority, low income, and military veterans. And so that's what planted the seed, for me at least, many, many years ago, to chip away at this issue so that people that come from these underserved communities can get fair and equitable access to capital without paying a 400% interest rate. My name is Dennis Cail, founder at Xertu, and we're based in Dallas. Americans lend and borrow over $200 billion a year with each other. Up until now, they haven't had the platform to formalize those loans so that you don't have to worry about getting paid back or worry about where the money is going. My sister and other family members would borrow money from me, and I had limited success in getting that money back. So my thought process was, how do I take the awkwardness out of this for me so I don't have to ruin holidays or ruin Thanksgiving by asking for my money, but also help make them more accountable. Every day, millions of Americans get a bill in the mail that they just can't afford to pay. And they're making some really hard decisions that most people shouldn't even be forced to make. Am I going to pay my light bill, or am I going to put food on the table? I grew up in low-income public housing. We didn't have banks or credit unions in my neighborhood, but we had several liquor stores and pawn shops that would cash your check for 30% of whatever your check was. There were always people in these underserved communities taking advantage of people who didn't have anything to begin with, and that just sort of never set right with me. For me, growing up in that situation, it was always, is there a bill that we can't pay so that we can pay this bill because this is about to be turned off? But millions of people, are dealing with this same situation every day. And so that's the problem that we're looking to solve. There is a dignity part of this that most people don't talk about. It's hard to find dignity when you're just constantly taking money from someone and not sort of being in a position where you can pay it back on your own terms. So started my career in the Navy as a systems engineer, left the Navy, got my undergrad in computer science, went to work for IBM. And when I was at IBM, I started a recruiting firm, out of my apartment, cold calling people and saying, hey, I see you have a job posted. I know people that can do this work. How much would you pay me? And next thing you know, I was making a few $100,000 just off my side hustle. I started a boutique M&A advisory firm after I left IBM, ran that for several years before selling that company. And after that, I was just looking for my next venture. But it wasn't until I started double clicking on the data around this problem that made me think that there was a big enough market here for us to go after. My heart, my mind, everything has always been focused on me doing my own ventures and trying to help as many people as I can be successful. Initially, it was just about lending and borrowing money with friends and family. We would charge borrowers $5 a month on a subscription basis to borrow money. The last thing they need when they need to borrow money is another fee added to that. So we took that out back and we killed it. Then we went to the platform that we have today, which is bill pay, and where our partners will send users to our platform. So if I'm looking at a termination notice from an energy company or from a telecom company, and I don't have enough in my bank, but I do have a friend or a family member that's willing to help me out, I can send a loan request to that person through the Xertu app. Once they approve that loan, Xertu sends the money directly to that creditor minus our success fee, whether we're talking about AT&T or Reliant Energy or Texas Health. When your customer is not paying you, they're telling you, I need other options, and that's what we bring to the table. 33% of Americans cannot afford to pay a $400 unexpected expense, okay? We know that the average medical deductible is over $400. So when you have people that are going into the doctor's office and they're having to make a decision right then and there, if they're gonna walk out, we send that payment real time to that doctor and they say, great, got your payment, let's get you back. We do give lenders the option to forgive the loan because we know people have life events. You can't do that with a bank loan. Last year, we processed over 30 million in loans. And by the way, We had less than a 2% default rate on those loans last year. We're out to prove that friends and family are the biggest bank in the world, but we're also out to prove that under the right circumstances, they're actually more inclined to pay their friends and family back when they're allowed to set their own terms than their actual creditors. So there's a big experiment going on here. Anyone who takes advantage of people in low-income communities today, they don't consider Xirtue to be a friend, and that's okay. Nationally, there's about 23,000 payday lenders. That's more than half of the number of McDonald's that are in this country, and Dallas is no exception there. So we have a real problem we need to solve for here. When it comes to the payday lending space, it feels damn good to be disruptive. I don't think we're gonna eradicate it overnight. And I think that's where our partnership comes in and why we're so focused on partnerships with purpose. And we measure impact by how many people can we help keep their lights on? How many people can we help keep their car running? How many people can we help get access to healthcare and education or pay their rent? Poverty just seems to trickle over from one generation to the next. And so if we can help people, change that outcome in a meaningful way so that they can change their legacy for their family, then we will consider ourselves a success.